lived in Venice, we lived on the Giudecca, which is an island that's opposite the main part of Venice. And in between there's what they call the Marittima, which is a big body of water. And we had a balcony that overlooked the Marittima, and the sunset was over in the west, you know. And I made a lot of pictures there. And here is one of those, what do they call the things that you tie boats to that come out of the water?
A mooring?
Yeah, well, it's a bunch of stakes that are tied together, you know. And we always kept, we had a little gondola, which I bought for $25.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you know, it was hard times in Italy in those days. And the boys on the Fondamenta, on the quay, they were just hanging around trying to find a job, and I used them to teach me how to row Venetian style. And I had this boat tied to this mooring, and one day I looked out and it wasn't there. So I said, somebody stole our sandolo, that's what those boats are called. And so we went to the police, and the police had it. It had been used to smuggle cigarettes from one of the boats to the mainland. Yeah. So it was used, my little boat was used for all kinds of things. Yeah. And over here, then, these are all from Italy, from trips that I took. Or this actually is a place that I lived in Canepina. Canepina is a little town just north of Rome, about 2 hours north of Rome. And when people ask me later on, I use that to try and upstage. They'd ask me, where have you been? Where did you live in Italy? And I say, I lived in Venice and in Rome and in Canepina. And they all had no idea where Canepina was. They said, where's Canepina? What? You don't know where Canepina is? What kind of a trip to Italy did you do? Well, Canepina is a little town where the Romans drive on a Sunday because it's got a very famous salumeria where they make very good salami, you know. And the Romans come back to Rome with these huge salamis that they buy in Canepina, you know. I had a very good time there, and I had the town was very beautiful, and it was one of those Italian little hill towns. You know, and I did a lot of pastel sketching there. I used to go out, you know, and I have a little bag that I hang over my shoulder that's got a pad and pastels and a little folding stool.
You still carry that all the time?
I have it. That's right. That's my walking studio, ambulatory studio. Yeah. But anyway, this is the harbor in Stonington that we looked out on. It had all these little islands where the lobstermen kept their gear.
Well, for these two, I've always wondered about these little verticals.
I don't know, there are probably some verticals in the landscape. I don't know what they are. You know, here's the horizontal that goes into, I don't know, sometimes it's good to be arbitrary. You know, if you're always doing the descriptive thing, it's very, very boring. And these, there again, these are pastels that I made in order to approach as closely as possible the idea of a minimal surface. You know, I was much more interested in the way I was treating the surface and the textures I could achieve.
This is probably my favorite pastel in the exhibition.
Well, I used to, you know, I'd like make a battle over these little things. You know, I was also still babysitting then too, and would be able to stay or be forced to stay with one work over a great length of time. Then I got interested in, or somebody asked me to do a picture of their boat, and I got interested in doing boats again, and made this sailboat that's, what do they call it when it's?
Healing.
Healing, it was healing. Did I call it healing?
You did. Yes.
Okay. But sailboats are very nice because the color of the sail and the color of the sky and the color of the water have a lot to do with each other. So that makes it easy. You know.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I'm always trying to make things easy for myself. Somehow I'm not succeeding. What happens here? This is very unusual. I'm surprised that Jerald even found these. These are flower pictures that I made in pastel. I didn't do many of those. They're very rare. But they're kind of nice. I like them now. The fact that I didn't give a damn, that shows. You know. And then here is the first, this goes earlier still. This is the first barn painting I ever made. I mean, this pastel is from the first barn painting I ever made. And I'm trying to make things as black as I possibly could, which was my ambition in those days, to make everything be as much one color as I could. And now I'm back there. I'm painting a lot of black paintings again. You know, not because I'm trying to copy this, but I've arrived at the color black through a different road.
And you know who owns that pastel, don't you?
You do. I know. Here you can see how little I care about description. You know, I care much more about the gesture and the directions and the density of things against the openness of things. And these are Italian pastels. I went out a lot in Italy making pastels.